Hello everyone, I am back today in Spintires, and today we are testing these two machines. I have an earth flattener, a ground flattener thingy, and I have a nice Dodge Ram there, a 2001 model, which we're also gonna test out. Today we've got sort of not really off-road vehicles per se, that much I guess. Of course, why I'm trying out the air flattener, you probably know already that I have quite a fascination with anything big that moves. Well, anything small that moves as well. Anything that moves and can be called a vehicle is sort of my domain. And I love big sort of construction equipment as well. Even more than many other stuff. So today we're trying out this thing, see how it works, and hopefully it's gonna be pretty cool. And then we're gonna try that Dodge Ram and see what the Americans like to drive on the road. And then that's gonna be pretty much it for this episode, I think. In the next episode, well, you'll see then. You'll see in the next episode what we'll do then. So let's go ahead and take this thing out right now. Okay, we have the parking brake on. There we go. Let's change the camera. Oh shit, okay, I've already run over the truck, which is not the best. Okay. This thing, oh shit, is not very maneuverable as you can see, but it's gonna be fine. Okay, so I'm not sure what the purpose of this thing would be in this game, other than having fun. Oh, and I can already see that hills are gonna be a problem for this thing. Fortunately, I don't think it's gonna sink in the mud, because it's got a huge amount of surface area in the front. Now I'm not sure how the physics work on this thing, because of course on a normal one you would have a bunch of weight in the front cylinder, which would push down and flatten the ground underneath. Of course, these things are mainly used for construction, so for building roads basically. So when the top layer of sand is put down for the road, this thing comes along and just compresses it as much as possible, so it does not move later when it is covered in asphalt. So anyway, this thing so far is pretty good off-road actually, surprisingly so. It goes very well. Of course it is only rear-wheel drive, but it does not seem to stop it. It goes pretty fast, which I wasn't really expecting it to do, because these things are quite slow. Well, depends actually, because they well, actually they're not really transported on the road, so they don't really. They are transported on the road on the back of a trailer, but they don't just like roll around on already built roads, because they would completely destroy them. So they would really need a high top speed. I guess the top speed just comes along. It's not really needed, but it doesn't really hurt it either. So it's just there, I guess, because these things have quite powerful engines as well, because they're very heavy, as I said before, in order to flatten the ground. And a powerful engine also brings some top speed, I guess, which is understandable. So anyway, this thing goes pretty fast. It sounds terrible, which is nice. Jumps around like that, but I haven't gotten stuck, so that's pretty good, I guess. speaking of getting stuck, no, that was nice. Okay, so this mod, I love the detail. The detail is very nice. The only problem is that it doesn't really work the way it works in real life. It doesn't really flatten the mud. I guess it does a bit, but not more than like any other vehicle in this game. Which, well, I guess there's some limitations to modding anyway. So this thing is pretty cool anyway. So doesn't really matter. Let's just try to get it out of here if possible. Yep, here we go. Come on. Come on. Nope. Okay. Oh, wait, what? I have all-wheel drive apparently. How does that work? Wait, does it have a powered roller? That is quite interesting actually. I'm not sure if that's just a thing for this mod, or if that's like a fact for this kind of vehicle. I was always pretty sure that the powered ones were just the real wheels, and the roller was just like rolling weight basically. But apparently this one's powered as well, which is very surprising, and it makes this thing quite unstoppable as it seems. Very cool. Let's switch some camera views around here. As you can see here, this thing's pretty nice. The model is really nice. I like the mud distribution on the roller. It's very cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool, this thing. Oh yeah, I was trying to ask myself a question also. I'm not sure what the rollers on these are filled with, because like they gotta be heavy, but I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain that they're filled with water, but I'm not sure if that's like always the case, because like if they want to make them as heavy as possible and be as small as possible, they would have to fill them with lead, I guess. That's the best they could have done. But of course that much lead would get really expensive, fairly certain. So I'm kind of doubtful of them being filled with lead. So the next best thing, I guess, is water, which is plentiful. I guess I'm fairly certain that I would use that. Anything else would be less dense than that, I'm fairly certain. So I think it makes sense, but you should correct me if you know better than me, because I'm just guessing basically. This thing is actually incredible. I was expecting to have to rescue this thing like 3 minutes into the test, but so far this thing is actually incredible. I'm just sort of chatting here and just driving this thing all over the place with no problems. It's quite maneuverable in sort of medium-sized turns. It's pretty good. Let's see if it can make this hill. Now, of course, it does not have any traction on the front roller. Even if it is powered, it does not have any traction. So I think that might cause it some trouble, because it can sort of roll on flat ground with it and help itself along, but on raised on a hill like here, that becomes a bit of a challenge. But actually I am really talking bullshit because this thing just made it up here. That is insane. Very nice. Okay. So far we have we have definitely a huge success as far as off-roading another flattener goes. Just make sure that the thing has a powered roller, and you're pretty much good to go. You can pretty much go anywhere you want. Anywhere you would need a serious off-road vehicle, this thing can make it, I think. Except for hills, as you can see here. It does have a bit of an issue with hills, but that's really not that big of a concern, I guess. You can avoid hills quite easily. Let's see if we can make it up here on this ridge. Yeah, no problem. So just don't get it into a sort of a trench. Oh shit! No! Oh, bad. Okay. Oh, it's glowing back. Nice. Okay. Very nice. That was just like driver error, and this thing just made it up anyway. Interesting. Can we make it to the very top? That is the question now. Come on, baby. Oh yeah. No problem. Some of you may remember that I parked, inverted commas, a Toyota Hilux, I believe, in this lake up here. So it's probably still in there somewhere, but I'm not gonna park this thing in here because this thing is pretty incredible actually. For just like construction equipment, this thing is an awesome off-road vehicle. Right, and with that success, I think it is time to switch to our Dodge Ram and test our classic American truckness on the off-road of this game. Let's do it. Alright. Let's see. So we're on top of the volcano. Let's see where our Dodge. There it is. Oh, that's not the right. What? There it is. All right. Let's see. Let's equip this thing. Let's get it a snorkel. That's gonna help. Trail gear, sure. Bush guard. What is that? What is the bush guard? I have no idea. Garage crates, no. Flatbed trailer. Ooh, that would be actually kind of useful for a boat. Or actually, I had a boat trailer here not long ago. Anyway, oh, we can have some other wheels. What do they look like? Ooh, proper off-road, proper American. Alright, let's try this thing out. Of course, when I say proper off-road, I mean that Americans would use this thing to go on the road, but doesn't really matter. This thing's got a lot of ground clearance, as you can see, and it has absolutely zero weight above the rear axle, so we're gonna have to put on all-wheel drive here. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. So this thing's got probably a nice and powerful American engine. Oh god, I just cringe when I see solid axles. I just do, sorry. Anyway, Americans are probably gonna be mad at me because I just said that. Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But I just have to cringe at solid rear and front axles in this case, because they are just so outdated, and they still use them for off-road use and on-road use. It's so bad. Why would you do it? It is so bad. I get that they're supposed to be more reliable because you can't break the goddamn thing because it weighs 16 tons and it's fucking huge. But independent suspension, people, yes, much better for off-road and on-road use because much more ground clearance. That's right, you don't have to jack up your truck or anything else onto huge tires to get ground clearance if you got independent suspension, because you don't have that stupid axle in the middle, making your ground clearance very small. And also leaf springs. Why? I mean, the coil spring is not a new sort of thing. I'm pretty sure it's been around for quite a while, but I don't know. There's just something with leaf springs that fascinates people in America, I guess. Anyway, I'm not really bashing trucks here because they're just utilitarian vehicles, I guess. Because in America you have giant roads and you have stuff to haul around your places, your different land plots, I guess. Well, not every people does that, but some people do. And they need a practical vehicle to put stuff in the back, and that can also carry a lot of people. That's perfectly understandable. If fuel prices in Europe would be as low as they are in America, I'm fairly certain that quite a few people would have these type of trucks in Europe as well. Me included, probably. It wouldn't be my only car / truck, but I would probably have one because they're just very useful things to have, I guess. But I don't know. I'm not really a fan of the newer sort of trucks that have come out in Europe. So in Europe we have pickup trucks also, but they're much smaller than the ones in America, the new ones have a huge amount of stuff in them. They're really expensive, and they have like everything basically a car has. They have, so sort of infotainment and stuff like that, and I really don't like that. I know that most people kind of like that, especially if it's their only vehicle. They want to have as much good stuff in there as possible, but I really don't like that stuff. I don't really like it in new cars. I don't really like any new cars, especially. I mean, I guess some new ones are nice, good looking, and the engines are pretty good, I guess, but it's just too much stuff. I don't like the infotainment stuff. There's just like too much screens that you don't need when you're driving. There's like too much helping electronics like ABS, ASP, anti something, lane departure warning, that warning, this warning. Just let me drive, please. And I know that stuff is just like government regulated, and manufacturers have to put it in basically, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to sell the cars. But it's really dumb. I mean, yeah, I guess it is helping in a sense that less people are dying on the roads, which is always a good thing. But I don't know. It's just sort of this weird contradiction for me, because I feel like of course, these things are mostly for people that just use a vehicle, a car or anything else to get from A to B, to get to work in the morning and back home in the evening. And I get that. It's perfectly good, it's perfectly normal for them to want to have all of that stuff in their car. But I really don't get why those cars are still petrol and diesel powered. If you want to have a petrol or a diesel car, it just means for me that you want to drive the car, and that means that you don't need all that electronic stuff. And if you just want to get from point A to point B every day, we already have there's already electric cars on the market that can do that, just that, very well, with zero pollution, much lower costs, and much easier to use. You don't have to shift them or stuff like that. And they have a lot of electronic stuff in there. Overall, I think they're perfect. And if I guess the biggest problem is they're a bit expensive still now. But I don't know. If I was in a market for a new car, I would, if I wanted to have a new car to drive every day from like home to college, I would definitely go electric, because in a budget, if you have a budget for a new car, for a petrol car, you have a budget for a new electric car. So I think that's perfectly adequate. I'm really stuck here. Let's see. Let's put the diff lock on as well. Can we make this? Oh yes. I was like stuck here for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, just talking. So anyway, yeah. So if I wanted to go from point A to point B and I wanted to have a new car for that, I would just go straight up electric, and then I would keep my sports car for every time I wanted to drive. I just drive, and that would be perfectly adequate for me, and I think it would be perfectly adequate for most people. Now, granted, there are some exceptions, some people that really cannot live with an electric car, because, for example, they drive every day more than like 200 kilometers, or like 250, which seems really ridiculous to me, but I'm fairly certain that there's a lot of people in America that do that every day. So I guess for now they would have to stick to to petrol and diesel. Well, more petrol in America, I guess. But for everyone else, I believe that electric would be more than adequate to provide their transport. So anyway, there's just my my little rant there, and sorry America, I love you, I love all the people, I love Trump, I'm a huge Trump supporter. I don't really want to be political on this channel, but I can say that. It doesn't really hurt anyone. And you have great laws, especially considering guns and stuff like that, home defense, perfect. But yeah, why was I talking? I'm not sure what was I talking about. Yay, that's nice. So anyway, solid axles and leaf springs, I guess, and trucks and stuff like that. That was just my little rant there. So I'm gonna end this episode here. I kind of like this Ram. I gotta be honest. Even though I bashed it because it's old-fashioned, because it's got solid axles and leaf springs, I still kind of like it. It did everything I wanted it to do. It got through the river without that much trouble. It got through all of the mud and stuff that I put it through here, and overall it's a pretty good off-road vehicle nonetheless. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you don't agree, I just have to think there. If you don't agree with my points there, with my little rant, you can definitely write down in the description and do whatever you want. Anyway, I will gladly accept different opinions if they are just, and yeah, I really like to have a discussion with my viewers, a nice civilized discussion, which is pretty much impossible on YouTube, but anyway, and that's pretty much it. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.